Hey Rainicorns, it's Ellie the Empress here. Um, I'm reading on the second half of this year. It is literally 12:30 a.m. So today was the full moon in Capricorn, and I've just seen so much happen over the past literally 2 weeks, and I'm like, for myself, I realize, and this is just me talking a little bit before I get into the reading too much. It's all important, so, and it pertains to what I'm talking about in the reading, because before I even talk too much, even in the thumbnail, this is Unicorn Demon, and that represents desire. And this is the Four Swords, which is separation. And sometimes it could be seen as abandonment, other times it can be detachment for whatever is necessary. And it's things that I see in my own personal life. It's things when I have conversations with people and they tell me things, and it's just observing how things happen on everything happens in cycles regardless of what it is, how it is. Everything happens in cycles. So if I'm being honest, because it's like it sounds annoying because I'm not here for the trends. It's just I have to be relatable. It's really standing on business type energy, because it's like, okay, full moon in Capricorn, don't nobody need to play about nothing. Like, this really isn't a time to play. Like, not in the way. Of course, have fun, enjoy yourself. That's the aspect that people darn near fail to do when it comes to desire. It's okay to enjoy yourself. It's okay to enjoy things for yourself. Getting into that lower essence, that's where it's like, for me, I'd be like, what's anybody's goal even at this point? Because you'll have conversations with people, and if you're close in a way, whether you're friends, acquaintances, even business partners, people you're supposed to be, whether you're accomplishing things with them or you're assuming based on conversations you're on the trajectory of accomplishing things on each other's own personal journey. Sometimes you help one another. Based on those conversations, based on the actions you'll see people take, you would think that, not everybody has the exact same idea, the exact same plan, the exact same, um, how'd you call it, methods of doing things. At the same time, people just, I don't know what it is when it comes to like the specific terminologies for it, because it's the cliche stuff that I don't like. I don't like sounding like I'm being cliche, like I've said something that other people have said so many different times. Because I genuinely don't be thinking that folks be lying. And sometimes it'll be like, oh, I feel duped. Other times it's like, what was even the point? Like, what was your goal? Because I know exactly what my goal is. I mind my business and I do the things that I focus on. Y'all, whether you watch my platform specifically or you know me, um, not necessarily in person. Most people who watch this platform do not know me in person. Most of the people who knew me from this platform, who I knew in person, don't even associate them with no more. And it's just like, that's for several different reasons. Because what was anybody's goal? Because then you have people who say things like, oh, well, that's what happens when you get into the spiritual new age stuff. You encounter a lot of wicked individuals who blah, blah, blah. It's same thing with Hebrew Israelites, same thing with Christians. What is anybody talking about? A bad person is a bad person. Whether they use God, the Hebraic God, or the Christian God, or their ancestors to do it, folks gonna be shiesty regardless. I personally just did not think we could be at a time and period where that type of behavior would even be tolerated by this dimension. So I'm like, am I in the wrong timeline or something? But apparently, I must not be because I'm realizing a lot of things simultaneously. So, hence this reading. It may be several people who are experiencing what I'm experiencing because it's like, I know I learned these certain lessons before. I know for a fact whether I've encountered these individuals before that I've talked to third dimensionally or certain types of spirits that I have dealt with before spiritually. I've dealt with this before. So it's not even that I'm struggling with dealing with it. It's just like, what the heck is this happening again? Like, what? Why? What did I miss? What exactly did I miss? Because I was very clear, very transparent, very much in the sense like, okay, let's get the show on the road. I don't have any emotions towards any situation really. And it's not that the same situation happened again. It's just the same pattern tried to repeat. It tried to. Because the only way it could repeat is if I had the sort of attachment that I had before. And what a lot of people don't even realize is I'm usually not attached. And so, speaking on a collective level, we probably have certain reasons for us doing certain things. So, if you work at a certain work environment, right? You will only deal with your coworkers a certain way because you have a manager who operates a certain type of way. So if that manager gets moved, they quit, they get a promotion, whatever, they're not your manager anymore, then you get a new manager and they operate a different way. Now you don't care how you treat your coworkers, not in a bad way, but you don't have to sit up and tolerate office politics and tolerate BS anymore because you don't have to. That manager doesn't play that. That manager is more like, hey, y'all, the last manager did tolerate a lot of BS, and I'm not finna do that with y'all. So you don't have to associate with each other like that. Just turn in your work on time, and we'll talk about promotions and raises and stuff based on your actual performance, not office politics. Well, fuck everybody then. Hey, it's you gotta send this memo. Hey, I need you to do this for me, that for me. I need for this department to have that back to me. And that's it. If that department doesn't get back to you in a timely manner, that's on that department. It's not, well, I didn't like the way you spoke to me. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. You were supposed to do a job. This is our job. It's a job. So, when it comes to the spiritual space, I don't care if you call yourself someone who has certain types of practices. It doesn't matter whether you practice Christianity, whether you have the Hebraic faith, whether you connect with your ancestors. You could be Muslim, you could be Buddhist. I do not care. We're all on a mission. We all have the same job. So what is anybody confused about? What's anybody confused about? We have the same job. We all have the same job. You either do a good job at the job or you do a bad job at the job, or you kind of float in the middle. And isn't it in Christianity where God says he doesn't like a lukewarm individual? You got to be hot or cold. So what's anybody even talking about? What is anybody doing? So I'm going to get to the cards in a minute, but I want to say this. I want to preface. I had a few conversations with some individuals, and we had a situation where we were, in a sense, bouncing off content ideas to share for the general population of people. And there was a topic that came up talking about celebrity psychosis, because a lot of people talk about spiritual psychosis, and it's getting more around about religious psychosis. I was in religious psychosis when I was a child. People who went to my church feel like we grew up in a cult, and in a lot of ways we did, because in cults everybody has a uniform mind and everybody operates a certain type of way. And at the end of the day, the goal was make sure everybody pay offering, everybody pay tithes, everybody look nice, smile, and if there's any predators around, just excuse their behavior. And I mean that in a very literal sense. No, we didn't necessarily have anyone killing anyone, but it was just too much sacral chakra based activity. It was just way too much. It was so much. And I was projected on a lot as a child for the same things I'm projected on now, for being promiscuous and having like all of these relationships with guys and stuff. And I didn't do nothing. I had a boyfriend while I was younger, and all we did was hold hands. Somehow a rumor got spread around that we had did the nasty at the church. And it's like, we never did that. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah, you got gay people, you got adults with sex tapes and all type of stuff going on at the church. I didn't find out about nine. I don't. I know for a fact. I don't even know 90%. I know for a fact. I really don't know. I don't know much. I heard as much as I could hear, because it's like all that was going on, and I was being projected on. I was being called fast. I was being called all this stuff, and y'all was doing all this. Y'all committing adultery. Y'all cheating on each other, and all I have is a boyfriend who I'm holding hands with and hugging, trying to be as Christian as possible. So I know what it's like to grow up in a cult. I like, you know what I'm saying? It's something that people don't like to admit is cult like behavior, because it's like, oh, well, this is just something I do. Why is it then that so much toxicity is tolerated? Families can be cults. A lot of families are cults. And that's getting into the celebrity psychosis. A lot of families are cult and behave in cult like manners where everyone has to operate the same way. Why do you think that so many predators, again, it always goes back to the predators, get so much protection? People know for a fact that a certain individual or certain group of individuals prey on individuals, and not only are they allowed to be around, but they're praised, because it's like, for whatever reason, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, they have money and they do this. Sometimes they are like financial providers or something, or they have connections, and then they make things like happen for the family or whatever. But like other times, it's not even for no reason. Maybe they're big and strong, and maybe people are afraid of them and scary. I've never been someone to be intimidated by size. I'm a small person, so people gonna be bigger than me, and that's not something that I've ever been afraid of. I know how to maneuver through situations regardless of the size of another individual. And I'm really in this space where I'm like, okay, here we are 4 years after the world shut down, and people are operating as if that didn't happen. Like, of course it comes up in conversations. Of course it comes up in conversations. People, you can't not talk about it, because whether it's policy, whether it's situations that did affect everybody 4 years ago, you know what I'm saying? It's things to remember from that time period that come up in conversation. However, the behavior of individuals, this great awakening that happened, I'm like, so all this, and people still want to behave a certain type of way. Like, that's the thing that is blowing me. So again, it's that standing on business type energy, because it's just like, if I gotta rock out the rest of the year alone, I'm so cool. I'm so cool. Cause no, I'm not finna emotionally waste my time. I'm not going to spiritually waste my time. I'm not going to socially waste my time for people who say they serious about something and they're just not, like, and then I'm thinking, I think at this point people don't even realize how unserious they are. I think I'm just about at that point. I'm gonna read this comment real quick. Hold on. Freethinker said, "Yoinks, the church niche is hell." Oh my god. But like, I think people, they do be, no, here's the thing. They be capping, but I don't even think they know that they're capping. Like, people get so wrapped up in their patterns that okay, this is what happened to me this week. I was having a conversation with someone about setting boundaries because they felt as if something that I did spiritually affected their life in a negative way. What I do is I do work for individuals and I tell them I am doing this work for you, or I will do work for the collective. Y'all have seen my posts where most of the time I do, if we're going to be specific, money manifestation or wealth manifestation, whatever sort of blockage you have that can prevent you from making, whether that's money or prevent mental blocks from stopping you from doing whatever it is and putting together whatever projects, whatever. Something that's going to increase your abundance and help you move forward in life. I let that be known that I do that for everybody. Everybody who is on a positive frequency and can receive what I'm sharing, that is what I do. When I'm just doing something for myself and I'm not posting it and I'm not sharing that saying this is for you, what I do for myself, and if I happen to tell you about it, I just happen to tell you about it. What I do for myself ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. Even if I am seeing certain results happen in the collective of energy, if I'm not saying that this is for everybody, it's not for everybody. So this person claimed that something that I was doing, because I told them about it, something that I was doing affected their life in a very negative way. They told me what happened. I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know what that has to do with me, though. I don't know what that has to do with my practice. Because what I did do, I explained very thoroughly the process of it. So we talk about, like I said, money manifestation specifically. If you do your research on certain entities, you'll recognize that Olokun is the associate of riches. Just do your research on that. Highly tied to Olokun is Yemoja, Yemeya. And so when you work with certain deities, like I told y'all, I've been telling y'all for over a year, connect with the Marine Kingdom and you'll find out a lot of stuff. I had no idea about any of that until recently. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I never had a relationship with Yemoja like that. I would connect with other deities. I posted on my Instagram Oshun before. So, it was like one of those things where I was doing something. They brought up this particular entity. And I'm like, now, I know for a fact we were talking about this situation that happened with this situation. So if you want to talk about that specific situation, that's cool. But what you just described to me has nothing to do with what I'm doing with this entity currently. So to clear all that up, I said, oh, we should just set like more boundaries, because if you genuinely feel as though what I'm doing for my own personal self is affecting you that much, we just need to have boundaries, because that's not my intention at all. So just back up then. Then they started to talk to me as it's like it was a repeated storyline that I've heard it before. And it wasn't that at the time period that I felt like it was untrue. But for this particular situation, I'm like, your storyline has nothing to do with what I'm saying to you right now. You're saying that I affected your life in a negative way because of my spiritual practice. You shouldn't be affected by my spiritual practice. Not like that. At all. Positive or negative, you should not be affected by my spiritual practice. So I said set boundaries. And then it's this repeat storyline that they say to people. And I'm like, okay. So part of that storyline is when people get connected with them, their life gets affected, and it's kind of drastic, the things that may happen to them in their lives and stuff like that. And my response was essentially, I didn't say that anything happened to me in my life. You said that what I was doing was affecting your life, or you brought up what happened in your life, and you brought up what I was doing in my spiritual practice. So associating the two with each other. And so if you're saying that something that I am doing is correlated to something that you went through, what does that have to do with me experiencing things because of being connected to you? That's the opposite. That's actually the opposite. I'm not being affected. I did not say that anything happened to me. I said let's set boundaries because you shouldn't be affected by what I'm doing. So they proceeded to have this script in their head and say all this other stuff. And I said, well, I went into the conversation about what I said to them before. When I was speaking to them directly, I said, I'm giving you spiritual advice, like do this, you should do that. And, it's obvious that you didn't do it. And then they decided to lie. And I was like, okay. That's all I said. I just texted back, okay. I just said, okay. Because what? So then after that period of time, I haven't heard from the person at all. This was a person that I would talk to pretty much every day for a good while. And to hear like nothing, I'm talking nothing. I'm like, what was this about then? What was it about? What was it about? So, like I said, standing on business and then getting into the celebrity psychosis, right? People in general swear that they're ready for certain things, right? That's why when I do my magic, whether it's for y'all, for myself specifically, a lot of shadow work is involved. If you're not ready to handle the newness of life and you're not letting go of the old story that you tell yourself and other people, you can't handle the new timeline. And I'm in the new timeline, and I literally saw a person fall back into their old timeline, or not necessarily fall back, but get stuck in their old timeline. And I'm like, bro, because we were in a conversation that I brought up something that happened with me some years ago. I was around some people, and somebody that I was like, we were literally at somebody's house, and one of the people kind of got loud with me a little bit, and they were like, and you can't get upset when you ascend past people, Ellie. And I was like, kind of random for the conversation, because it's not that I get upset with people for not ascending as fast as me. That's never the issue. It's just stuff like that happens where I'm speaking plain English and then they act like I'm not saying what I'm saying. And I'm like, I know I was so clear about what I said. And there's nothing confusing about what I said. But and then I think that's another thing where people confuse narcissism with people who are stuck in old timelines. Where I wouldn't go out of my way to say that that person's a narcissist. I just think that they're not good at moving on from situations. And are they manipulative? I do think so. I just don't think that they're fully aware of how they're operating in life, because it's just like, and it's not even a thing of giving people benefit of the doubt. I genuinely do believe people be tripped out about how they live their own life. Because I analyze myself so much. I'll be like, okay, what happened in this situation? Can we see this from both perspectives? Because I asked in that situation, I asked to talk on the phone multiple times. So I say all that to say this. Celebrity psychosis also goes in with social media psychosis. People who have clout and they get a big head about things, because people think that that's me. And I'm like, look, I was doing this before I had clout, creating content and posting my stuff and connecting with people. Even before I was making content, I was a child. Like, actually in the entertainment business. So having attention was never something that was new to my life. And I think that's something that a lot of celebrities struggle with because they have a lot of things to deal with outside of their own emotions. Hold on. 5 viewers and 5 likes, yay. Freethinker said that person sounds like a sheep, lol. I can't deal with people. Revelations, the sheep are being pushed to the side so you can walk the path. That's my perspective. And it's like, I see that perspective. I do. It just be blowing me because people be saying so like they say and intend to manifest so much, and I don't think people realize what it is they're asking for. I don't think people realize what they're asking for, because when it's time to move on to the new timeline, it's time to move on to the new timeline. If you hold on to the old timeline, you're going to get old timeline results. So in this next half of the year, I'm really seeing a lot of celebrities like do more integration. I don't know if y'all have seen, it's two situations I want to touch on. It's something about K's. People with K names started with the letter K. Um but recently Kai Cenat and Kevin Hart, they did a live stream together. Drewski was there. He has a K in his name as well. But like if you watch the live stream or the clips from the live stream, of course Kevin and Kai were the main characters and Drewski was kind of a side character. That was how the dynamic of the live stream was set up, and it just is what it is, whether they intended it to be that way or it just comically ended up that way. Then you have Kylie Jenner, who apparently is upset about how she got artificial enhancements and they're affecting her in a negative way. And I actually, on my vlog channel, I actually made a video about Kylie Jenner when she first became a billionaire. I think she was 19 at the time. And I made a video about it because people were upset and mad. And I was like, I don't care what nobody's talking about. And this isn't about how anybody feels about the Kardashian Jenner family either. Do you know how it takes so much to become a billionaire? Kylie Jenner became a billionaire and had a net worth more than all of her siblings combined. And she's the youngest sibling. And it's like, it's not just about, oh well, they're privileged and they have these resources and they have this and that. Again, all her siblings combined, two of her siblings were married at that point. She had more of a net worth than all of her siblings combined, including Kim Kardashian and Kanye West being married together. That's how much she was worth at such a young age. And it's like, I don't care what you're talking about, whether it's magic, whether it's resources, whether it's net worth. I don't care what you're talking about. Becoming a billionaire at that age is a lot of work. A lot of work. And I was like, I made my video in a sense of being like, yeah, like, I don't know what people are hating on necessarily, because it's like most billionaires don't even achieve anything close to that until they're at least 50. We have our Jeff Bezos and our Elon Musks and our Mark Zuckerbergs and stuff, sure, but that's not common even in the billionaire world. It's just not common. So I was making certain points with that, because it wasn't just, oh, she has a bunch of Instagram followers and her family's famous, of course she's a billionaire. No, you don't just get money just because you're famous. And that's the celebrity psychosis. You don't just get money just because you're famous. So when we had the SAG-AFTRA strike and the writer's strike last year, it was a lot of people talking about increasing the wages for actors and writers. And in order to be part of SAG-AFTRA, and that's essentially the actors, I was going to say guild, union, the actors union, you have to make at least $30,000 a year. I'm like, 30,000. We're talking people who live in Los Angeles, people who live in California. If I'm not mistaken, it affected New York. certain areas in Florida, like Miami or Orlando, places that have a lot of acting and production. Maybe Atlanta, but I'm like 30,000. 30,000? That's not a lot of money. That is not a lot of money. And when it came to the actors that were big a long time, not even a long time ago. Not even. We're talking a decade, maybe a decade and a half. And their royalty checks, they can't live off them. And I'm like, so everybody was scammed, not just, people think the common man who doesn't have any fame, fortune, or anything was scammed. No, even the people who have the fame were scammed. We're not just gonna talk about their parents. Of course, like, okay, if y'all remember Honey Boo Boo, she was Honey Boo Boo child, like that girl. She was really really little when she was on TV. Her dance show or pageant show and everything. She a teenager now, finna become an adult. She trying to go to school. Her mom done spent up all her millions of dollars. This girl was plastered all over TV since I was maybe 12 years old. Plastered all over TV for years. And she ain't got no money to go to school. Her mom got new teeth. They live in a big house. And she ain't got no money to go to school. And her mom was trying to gaslight her. And that's what I'm saying. I've gone through the same thing. I've gone through the same exact situation with my own mother. And it's like, they know they're wrong, but they live in a society that lies so much that it's like, I did wrong, but I did wrong for us. So therefore, I'm not wrong. But it's to the detriment of the child, though. Because how she's supposed to get to school? She going to have to take out loans? I don't even think she qualifies for certain aspects of financial aid because she's famous and did have a certain amount of money coming in. So her mom, according to her taxes, it will be like, oh, well, you don't qualify for that assistance because you have that much money. And it's like, what's anybody supposed to even do then? Freethinkers said, you just proved it. Why people keep leaving your presence unless I'm misunderstanding the story. Wow, Cat Williams. The cat's out the bag. Yep. That's why it's not about how much money you make or have. It's about how you invest, flip, lol. Okay, so I'm getting to that, right? So we have this thing of lack of financial literacy. And that's why I said most billionaires don't achieve that until they're well into their 50s. If they're self-made. This is my biggest pet peeve with the spiritual community because they say things, don't exemplify them, don't show any sort of guidance in any sort of way, and just say things because they sound nice and they're trigger words. They may have been true or they may be true, but they don't live life as an example. Pretty much everything that I discuss with you guys, I live it from example, and that's why my numbers are the way that they are. It's like, I have clout, but people know me way too much and my numbers don't match. I was watching this one video of somebody making some reactionary content about me. Somebody was making a reaction video to me and I'm reading the comments and this person was like, oh, I know who that girl is. She makes videos about this. And I'm like, I don't even know the creator here. I'm only watching this video because they're talking about me. And I just want to see what they have to say. And I want to see what the rest of the people have to say. Why do you know the type of content that I made years ago? I'm not even talking about something that I just posted like 2 months ago or something. I mean, years ago. Why do you know that? And my views are not viewing. Like, the amount of people who know the stuff that I post don't make sense according to the views I have. The way that people talk about me, you'd think I'd have at least 100,000 subscribers. You'd think I have maybe not 100,000 followers on Instagram, but 50K at least. I cracked 10,000 last year. It doesn't make sense. But because I know who I am as an individual, that whole aspect of celebrity psychosis is not a thing of it being like, oh, well, they should know who I am. No, I'm genuinely surprised. How do you know me? My numbers are too low for that. I'm being logical here. My numbers are too low for you to know who I am and to know that specific content that I made years ago. So I don't have too much to say about Cat Williams because he helped to kickstart a lot of the truth being revealed about these things. So the pet peeve I have with the spiritual community, people have all the time in the world to talk about a person, what they think their characteristics are, rather than the value that an individual actually brings. And even that sounds corny. It's like, well, this person acts this way. Yeah, but you can learn a lot from them though. Well, they look like this. Yeah, well, they're providing resources that everybody else not providing. So investing and flipping money, bruh, like, people say things like generational wealth. They say things like legacy. They don't know what that means. They don't know what it means. And I got into this space thinking that, people use the terminologies that I use and have the same ideals I have. No, it's just to make themselves look smart. And I'm like, oh, so y'all aren't practicing that behind closed doors. Or if you are, it's not in a sense of you're not teaching your family about it to any sort of extent. I've shown y'all my dad. Like, I welcomed the floor for people to talk with my dad. And no one ever has anything to ask him. He knows so much. And that's what be blowing me. It's like, y'all follow all these dudes on all these platforms. Y'all ask them all these questions and y'all say this and y'all say that. I have a person who has already been done with the spirit. My dad's been done with the spiritual stuff. He gave me this book. This is Metu Neter, the Great Oracle of Tebuti. No, yeah, Tebuti, and the Egyptian System of Spiritual Cultivation by Ra-Un-Nefer Amen. My dad gave me this. I've been had texts like this in the house my whole entire life. My whole entire life. My mom gave me this one. This is Message to the Millennials by Brother Risa Islam. My mom gave me a book by Risa Islam. I know for Muslim brother. Egyptian Kemet. I been knew the spirituals. I been knew it. Me personally, I been knew it. So why is it that there's an opportunity to speak with an individual who's already done all this stuff and has been able to integrate certain things into their matrix life, and no one takes on the opportunity? Like, somebody told me that they saw the interview that I did with my dad, and again, celebrity psychosis, and they wanted to do something with him because they were trying to do something with me at first, but they never had a plan of action. I have a specific plan of action, and I presented that to them, and I said I will send referrals to you for anybody who would fit your services, basically. And I was eventually going to get their services because they have information that I need, and I know the strategies I'm moving. I know what I'm doing over the next couple of years. So I'll open the floor for folks to talk to my dad. I ain't the comments that I received about my father was, oh, you guys, oh, she looks just like you. Y'all have the same smile. Oh, y'all are doing such a good job. I'm like, so ain't nobody got no question? I be seeing y'all glazing over niggas in their comment sections. They be talking about the DMs that they get. I see the live stream comments. I see the comment section comments after the video's been posted. My dad's right here. Just ask him something. Y'all ain't got nothing to ask him? I'm confused. I thought y'all wanted information. I thought y'all wanted resources. I thought you wanted the wisdom. The person didn't. They said they wanted to work with my dad, but they didn't. They don't have anything. They don't have a thing. I already presented a plan of action. You don't want to do it. Okay, fine. First of all, say that because you didn't. First of all, say that. And then second, don't try to what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? What is anybody even trying to achieve? Like, the amount of standing on business that everybody's gonna have to do for the rest of the year is insane. So I'm gonna wrap up and I'm gonna get to the actual card pulling because I know I've been talking for a minute. I really just have to get this out because it's like, bruh, like I said, people don't even realize how much they're lying to their own selves. Like, they don't even realize how much they are lying to themselves. I've had multiple people try to return into my life over the past couple of weeks, and we're now in summer. We passed the summer solstice, yay. We're now officially in a new season, but that's what I'm saying. I'm in a new season. Oh, oh, I'm in a new season. So yeah, my church people get that one. But we're literally in a new season. We're in the next half of the year. Then I peep people's patterns. I be seeing them in real life time. I be like, you keep doing this. Because I can't recognize someone else's patterns if I don't recognize my own patterns. So if I recognize my own patterns of whether I forgive people and try to work with them, whether I'm working on a project and I have a certain rhythm and then I lose that rhythm and then I get back in the rhythm and then, people's self-awareness does not truly exist. And sometimes I lack my own personal self-awareness when it comes to, I'll be honest, with my positive traits. I don't recognize my positive traits the way other people recognize my positive traits because I don't be seeing. It's not that I don't get why people become envious or jealous of me. It's just like it doesn't make sense to me because I am a I'm a person who I'm an individual who genuinely believes that everyone is special in their own right. Like, everyone has their own qualities that make them special. There's no reason to me for anyone to covet what someone else has or to envy and be jealous of them. I see everybody as, oh, I aspire to do that. I aspire to have that sort of lifestyle. I don't need to be that person. I don't. So then when people go through these different stages of their beliefs and then they get into spirituality, it was my fault for assuming that they had been enlightened to a certain extent and thinking that they were above those negative traits and qualities. That was my fault. Even despite going through certain situations and circumstances with people, they still inhibit certain qualities when it comes to me. And it's like, it threw me off. I was like, I didn't think we were still here. I didn't think that. I thought everybody was over it. I thought everybody could just do what they say that they're going to do for themselves and not behave in certain ways anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna get into this reading because I'm like, we already see the celebrities falling. They're people, okay? They are individuals, and they were treated as gods and goddesses when they more than likely were not in their godhood. And that wasn't okay to put that much pressure on individuals. We see like what happened with people like Doja Cat, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I liked her in the beginning because she was a YouTuber. Justin Bieber, YouTuber. And then stuff be happening to him, and then like you don't even know. And when I say I was a Justin Bieber fan, I mean I was a fan. I got his CD for Christmas. I read his book. I checked it out from my school library. I went to go see his movie with the 3D glasses. I was a Justin Bieber fan, okay? And then he started doing weird stuff that wasn't even regular teenage boy type stuff, young adult man type stuff. And I was like, that's weird. Someone had pointed it out to me. I was like, that's weird that he's doing all that. But it's celebrity psychosis. It's that invincible, well, I'm me, so I can't get in trouble. Justin Timberlake just got arrested for DUI, and the dude didn't even know who he was. He's so much in his psychosis that it's like, he talking about, oh, this is gonna damage the world tour. Well, man, fuck your tour. It doesn't matter. Nothing. This stuff does not matter. You have to be a responsible individual now. That no amount of money, power, or fame is getting anybody out of anything anymore. And that's what I don't think people have realized. But anyway, I'm in a new season. Whoa, whoa, I'm in a new season. So like I said, we're starting off with the 4 swords and the demon and desire. So I'm going to put those back in the decks. Do, 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 do. Man, look. It always goes back to the same things. It always goes back to the same things, bro. Seven of Pentacles, Two of Wands, King of Swords. Healing childhood trauma to become a proper functioning adult. Okay, I'm not gonna take that one. Look, again. Look, man. Healing childhood trauma to become proper functioning adults. Once again, healing to be able to communicate well. That's the 4 of Wands and the Nine of Chalices. Temperance. Having the proper temperament. Having the proper emotional intelligence to be successful. Like, it's all the same thing, bro. Journey. Unicorn boat. You see the water? They're both on rivers. Rush. Unicorn race. Rush. That one's kind of interesting. Okay. Unicorn tiger. Majesty. And then, look. Unicorn angel. Divinity. Okay, and then at the bottom of this deck is the Knight of Pentacles. And I only sound this way because it's like, I don't like repeating myself. So when it comes to my platform, when it comes to those who say they're in my circle, those who are around me, those who are close to me, it's like certain things just make sense when you say it the first time. If someone says deal with what you had going on when you were a child in order for you to properly handle situations in the future, what is there to be confused about? I'll say, for an example, from my own situations. I used to move around a lot when I was younger. So I had trauma when it came to my stability because I didn't know what was going on. It would be some days that were good, and then other days my family's waking up and we're getting evicted. It would be some days we would be in a hotel and not know the next step we were gonna have. Some days we were living with relatives or family friends. I didn't know what was going on, and my life was like that for my entire childhood. So sometimes certain types of situations that seem too uncertain freak me out. So when people would say things like go with the flow and oh everything's going to be all right, no need to worry about it. It's like, no, I'm going to need something solid cuz I don't trust none of that. Cuz here we have at the bottom of the deck angel, that's the exact opposite of demon desire cuz we have divinity here. Like your desires may not align with your divinity. You may want certain. Okay, so the whole thing with the celebrity psychosis, majesty. Okay, you're being seen as royalty as a celebrity. Maybe you just want the money and not the fame. Because it's not good to be famous and have no money. So I'm not gonna say the opposite. You shouldn't want to be famous without any money. That doesn't make any sense because you need certain protection when you're famous, and that costs money. But if you just want the money and you think you have to be famous to get there, that could be your misconception. Maybe your divinity is not in majesty. Maybe your divinity is through doing something simple, figuring out ways that can make income without your identity being known by the general public. Maybe it's not about being a household name. It doesn't have to be that. Or, for the poly people, if you're a, I'll just be honest, bro. Like a lot of the guys think that they want to have multiple wives. Maybe you don't want to have multiple wives. Maybe you need to heal your childhood trauma of how your mom didn't spend enough time with you. Maybe you need to deal with the fact that your sisters are prioritized over you and you were a secondary child to your family. Maybe you don't want multiple wives. Maybe you really do just want one good wife and she loves you genuinely and you don't want to have to toss between female to female so that you can feel what you think is love. I'm not just going to say something so it could sound cool. I'm telling you exactly where these wounds start from. When I say shadow work, I mean that. I mean that we can go further. Maybe because here's the thing, I would say a lot of people in the spiritual community are mentally challenged. Maybe it's not that you think, oh, well, fuck having a degree, I don't need to go to college. Maybe you just didn't have someone cater to you properly when it came to educating you in school. And that's the teacher mentor card right there with the Knight of Pentacles. Maybe they just didn't sit down with you. Maybe you went to public school when it would have been better for you to be homeschooled or go to Montessori school or go to a charter school where it was smaller classrooms, but your parents didn't accommodate for your needs. So you may have been put in the special class. You may have been put in the corner and the teacher didn't want you hanging out with the rest of the students because you were quote unquote bad, but you just had a different type of learning style. And we gonna penetrate. Oh, and even that trigger word, because I didn't even think about that till I said it. Because I was finna say we're gonna penetrate deeper, but that's actually triggering for the next thing I'm finna say. To the OnlyFans girlies and some of you guys, you probably do not enjoy sex the way you think you do. That is a trauma response, and your sacral chakra is out of balance, and you need to heal your childhood wounds from being overly sexualized. It's okay to use your sexuality and your sensuality to gain you things. You can use that for manifestation. You heal that up and use it for your pinnacles. Encountering multiple bodies in a sexual manner is not something that you need to do to get money. I remember joining a live stream of these girls. They were advertising their OnlyFans and stuff. I was like, "Have you ever thought about being a model?" She was like, "No." People get paid to put clothes on and take clothes off. You don't have to have sexual encounters with people or with yourself on camera to profit or benefit from your sensuality. People do photo shoots like this all the time. You could just do photo shoots like that and get paid for it. You don't have to have a sexual encounter to benefit from your beautiful body. Like, it's real simple. It just hurts though. Because with the non-vachalysis over here, it requires communication. It requires having to be vulnerable. Let me see what happens here. What I say? Vulnerability. I knew it was going to come out. Hold on, let me put the deck down. I said it requires to be vulnerable, and then the unicorn flower came out, which represents vulnerability. Look, man, I know what I'm saying. We got to be real here. There is no getting to the next step without dealing with the previous situations that caused the previous steps. People want to talk about being a generational curse breaker. That's not something that you want to just say all the time. Me personally, I'm done breaking certain curses. I'm already standing on business. It just is what it is with me, personally. I wouldn't say anything to y'all that either I wasn't already practicing or I haven't mastered to some sort of extent. So let me give you another example. The over sexualization and like grooming in people in general, because it's not just girls. There's this one relative I have, they have a friend who knows about my son, and they've bought my son presents before and stuff like that for his solar return and whatever. That person years ago referred to my son as their little boyfriend. Mind you, my child's really, really small. He was like 3 years old at the time, something like that. So this year comes around, he turned 7. And I confronted the relative first before I accepted the gift. I was like, does this person still refer to my son as their little boyfriend? And they said no. So that already right there is, if anything was to happen after this point, you can't say that I didn't address it. So my son's playing with the toys, and then later he realizes that there was a card. And so he was like, oh, "Mommy, here's this card." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I see how it looks, and it had an inappropriate joke in it. And I'm like, I texted this relative and I said, "Tell this person they never have to speak on my son's name again. They don't have to give him another present ever again in their life." No. No. You don't need to be in my life. You don't need to be in my son's life. You're a predator. I don't care. And then they tried to say that they didn't know, they didn't see it. I don't want to hear none of that. You could see the pictures on the card and you signed it. So you obviously read it. Don't lie. Don't lie to me. Do not lie to me. Just don't, no. I'm not going to sit up here and tell y'all stuff that I'm not at least attempting to try. I've had to set up so many boundaries. with so many people. I didn't think it was this real. I didn't think it was this real where you have to cut off everybody for a good amount of time. Set up boundaries that are sky high. I'm thinking, okay, well, we used to talk every day, so I'll just talk to him every little while. No, never talk to him again. No, leave him on red. No, only see them at family functions. No, don't go to a family function if they're going to be there. No, you need to be alerted if that person's going to be at the family function. You wouldn't think it was that serious, but the more serious that it is, the more toxic you see that your previous reality was. You a lot of us did not realize how toxic our environments were until we healed, went back and was like, that's a trigger, that's a trigger. And people think triggers are, oh, you're being sensitive. No, that's something I had to heal from. I had to heal from that. If it hurt me and I had to heal from it, and it's so prevalent in this area, that's a problem. Either I don't need to be there, I don't need to be there for long, I don't need to tolerate the behavior that comes from there. And people don't like when you have boundaries. And that's the thing too. I didn't really learn about like certain types of boundaries until I got to be an adult. And one of my friends that said certain boundaries with me, I was like, that's interesting. But even when people say that they're setting certain types of boundaries, it's like sometimes that's not even the truth. Or it may have been the truth at the time, but then after a certain time period, it's just kind of like, so boundaries, but are we cool? Because if we're not, I don't want to be in this limbo confusion state of being like, can I reach out to you? Like, because I get it. When it came to me, people were confused because it was like, oh, what happened? But it's like, no, you know exactly what happened. Tragic situations happened that I was very vocal about. Other people, they just want to mind their business and be on their way. And like, they just don't want to be bothered with anybody for a moment. And that's fine. It just depends on the situation. But if you know for a fact that you have told people what you're going through, and then they want to act confused as to why you're not talking to anybody, it's toxic. That's toxic. And celebrities deal with that. Everybody deals with it. But think about it. So many people know your name. So many people know your family. So many people know probably more about you than you think you know about yourself. And it's just like, okay, how do I maneuver? It's much more difficult for celebrities to maneuver than it is the average person. The average person can move towns and be fine. The average person can change jobs and be fine. The average person can just associate with their immediate family and not the extended family and be fine. Celebrities can't do that. And when I say celebrities, I mean well-known people. So that could include people like politicians, and that could include high-level executives that are known in their companies. Because some executives, they aren't necessarily known that much, but some are in the media more than others. So it's like, it's one of them things, man. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Like I said, bro, it's vulnerability. It's vulnerability. Being open with yourself and getting that stuff taken care of. Doing that shadow work. Repenting for whatever sins you may have committed, knowingly and unknowingly. Ask for those things to be revealed. And be like, okay, I need to deal with that. Okay, I need to deal with that. Like people who steal dealt with lack growing up. Even if they were given things or they had plenty, they just dealt with a lack mentality for some reason growing up. So they steal now. Deal with that. But yeah, like I said, what is it? It's 1:30 now. Yeah, yep, it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and go, y'all. This was a lot because the reading was short and sweet. It was the depth of what I was talking about that really needed to get out. I will be making more videos on things like, not specifically celebrities, but you gotta realize the stuff that's happening with Hollywood and the integration of social media and people having the means to make a name for themselves, make income for themselves, build platforms, build a reputation without gatekeepers. It's just they post things and people find them rather than going to auditions and waiting for someone to approve you. We're in an entirely different world now. So, we're I'm going to be making a lot more readings and topics catered towards artists specifically, because that's what's needed. And that was what I meant by, I was talking with some people about making content about this, and the content was supposed to come from a certain source, but they're not making the content, and this is the type of stuff that needs to get out as soon as possible. So I refuse to let the information be hoarded and not spoken on in a timely manner, because that's not fair. Whoever needs the information needs the information. They need it now. They don't need it another time. Like, the time is now. Is now. But yeah, I'm finna go. Brother Mega said, a lot of our people don't take stuff serious. I'm real past it, because people lie too much. Because as much as people will say that they're taking something like, okay, I'm gonna go, but even when I say I have to, when I made my stream and I said suing the spiritual community, when I said that, and now I'm working on the case, a lot of people didn't take me seriously. I was threatened with a lawsuit. I was threatened with a lawsuit from someone in the spiritual community. Why did no one take that serious? I was put in the media and someone tried to associate me with crimes that people were committing. Why did no one take that serious? It was serious when it was okay to involve me with clout, or so they can gain notoriety and speak on the situation and try to, talk down on my name. But when actual third dimensional matrix situations happen, that's not taken serious. It's like, we take stuff serious that has nothing to do with us. Brother Vega said, you leave it, dang, I'm late. Yeah, I've been on here for a minute. I finished the reading and everything. The reading was short because it just confirmed everything I was talking about previously. This was more of a talking video. And like, it's a tarot reading, but it's really a energy reading. It's like, it was a lot. Definitely go back and watch it. Take the time to do that. But like, I'm just, we're all at a, we're, okay, I'll say it like this. The timeline has shifted. We're now in a perpendicular reality. So a lot of people will talk about mirror timelines and parallel timelines. Parallel timelines look like that. They mirror each other. They look similar. We're in perpendicular timelines where certain things cross. So this is where you see things like people blowing up out of nowhere, or there may be some one-hit wonders come out. There may be people who are an overnight success. We're in that timeline right now where, like, once we get out of this cross, this little X right here, and then we continue on with the regular timeline, there's going to be people who continue on this way, whether it's as if nothing happened or taking the collective of whatever happened, and there's going to be people who continue on that way and just be on about their life. But the timelines themselves are in the midst of changing right now because of that. Okay, cool. But yeah, we're there now. These are the perpendicular timelines. Everything, excuse me. Everything you once thought new, everything you once thought new. So everything you once thought old. I was gonna say everything you once thought you knew is changing. Of course, many principles still apply, but everything you once thought new is now old. This smartphone is old. That's old. This is old technology. Very old. Brother Mega said, "You too dang smart." Well, when you say it like that, it doesn't sound very good. I'm highly intelligent. I appreciate the backhanded compliment. Because it's still a compliment nonetheless. So, with us living, it's the way you said it. With us living in this perpendicular timeline where things have crossed and we're now experiencing an entirely new and different reality, it's a choice to stay the course and be consistent with what it is that's going to be best for your life, or get caught up in the mess. Either get caught up in the mess, or see the mess, observe the mess, and just keep doing what you're doing. And just be like, you know what? That's not going to do anything for me. It's not going to take me to where it is that I'm striving to go. And if I continue to strive where I'm striving to go, I'll be fine. It's about having an innovative mindset to get to the future. That's why I call it the Tantric Time Lords podcast. So if you want to see the podcast, and I'll be honest too, like this is, I'm going to say it like this. I don't dress sexy because I don't be feeling like it. But for the Tantric Time Lords podcast, what I do is I intentionally take sacral chakra energy. I look sexy and I'm appealing in a physical way to whether it's like I'm heterosexual, but I enjoy when women kind of dress up. But I know, like, of course, lesbians and heterosexual men enjoy that as well. Homosexual men enjoy it too. They be like, yes, queen. They be on that type of energy. So it's just like, by stimulating the audience in a certain type of way and being the time traveler that I am, I take information from the future, I bring it to the present, and help people apply history from the past to make sure that the innovative concepts that people take towards whatever future they are developing for themselves actually make sense, and they're not striving to do something that's not going to benefit them. Tantric Time Lords podcast. So if you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can here on the channel, and you get access to everything that all the members get access to, or for a lower price you can subscribe to my Instagram, Real Talk with Ellie, with 2Ks, and you will have access to the information that I'm talking about in the podcast, and of course my nice looking pictures and outfits and stuff. But you know what I'm saying, guys, I got it like this. When it comes to males specifically, a lot of males don't listen. How do males listen? You get their attention, and even if I'm programming their subconscious mind with the stuff I'm saying and they're just looking at my body, I see it as me, I'm programming their semen. So if they are in a relationship with someone and they produce children, I have programmed this man's semen to have smart children. And at that, I am doing my part. I am. Because dudes don't be listening. So it's just like, hey, I'll just get the microorganism children to listen. Yeah. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna go now, officially. Bye, Rainicorns. I will see you in the next one. Thawada.